So today we are going to discuss the assignment question. So you have the task 1 is introduction to drama, and task 2 is introduction to poetry. First of all, I'm sure you know the assignment rubrics. So the weightage that is given for the plot and the conflict. So we decide on the excellent markings. So the plot and conflict will be given excellent marking if you reflect an in-depth knowledge and clear understanding of the plot and conflict in relation to the emergent issue. All requirements of the question are excellent, met and answered, well presented, displaying excellent through thorough understanding of the question. So that will be the full mark. So please think of that. And talking of the characters, if your discussion should reflect an in-depth knowledge and clear understanding of the characters in relation to the emerging issues. And all requirements of the question are excellently met and answered. So then for the theme, and it has to be the setting in the theme, discussion reflects an in-depth knowledge and clear understanding of the setting and the theme in relation to emerging issues. So all requirements of the question are excellently met and answered, well presented, displaying excellent and thorough understanding of the questions. And the textual evidence, the arguments are fluent and clearly constructed and supported by appropriate textual evidence. So please stick to those guidelines and then you should be okay. So regarding the first assignment question, you have to choose a drama text. So you're free to choose whatever you want. So I hope you have decided. So other than importance of being earnest. So first of all, decide on the drama and follow the basic principles. So what you have to do is support your claims with brief quotations for the text. That is very important. And acknowledge all quotations. And you have to attend to a range of facts even if concentrating on one. So even if you're only concentrating on the theme or the character, please mention the others as well. So those are important. So if, for example, if your criticism is centered on characterization, you may bring the other elements such as the plot and the theme because they are related to the character. So vice versa, if you're writing about the theme, you have to bring about details of the character or the plot. And also there should be a body, the conclusion, and have a central focus. That means the thematic statement is important. So you have been asked to refer to the checklist created by Barnett and Kane on page 56. So if you just read through that, you should be okay. Right? So here, if you're writing about the plot and conflict, what it says is, think of the plot and conflict. Does the exposition introduce elements that will ironically be fulfilled? During the exposition, do you perceive things differently from the way the characters perceive them? Right? So you have to give your own analysis of it. And also, are certain things recurrent? That's very important. And what significance do you attach to them? So if there is a scene or some statement that is being repeated again, so that means there is some importance to it. So you have to highlight it. And see if there is more than one plot, right, in whatever drama that you choose. So are those plots also connected to the main plot? So you have to mention that. And what are the scenes? Are the scenes relevant to the plot? to the character, to the theme. So connect everything together. And are certain scenes strongly foreshadowed that you anticipate them? Can you feel that this is going to be important? So when you're reading it, that's if you say foreshadowed, that means you expect something to happen. Do you get an idea of that? Mention that as well. And finally, did you fulfill your anticipations? Did you get what you expected? Or was there a surprise scene or an ending? That is important. So analyze it in that way. And also, what conflicts were there in the play? Are there any conflicts? There should be a conflict. And then think of the characters. Is one character or group pitted against the other? And think of a character of a person. Are there two sides of the character? Is one personality, one's a person at odds with another party of the same person? Does he behave like as if he has bipolar disorder? Right? So one behaves in one way, and then in the night he behaves in another way. Different when he meets another person in a different way. So all those things are important. And how was the conflict resolved? And did you find the resolution satisfying or unsatisfying? Unsettling? If so, why? Then if you're talking about the plot and the conflict. So you have to choose one, right? They have, according to the question, it says, centering on one of the emerging issues in your chosen text. So it can be the plot or the character or the theme or whatever you can choose, but then you have to connect all the other important things to it as well. So that is how that marking will be done. Then if you're talking about the characters, what are the characteristics of the main character in the play? Then do they behave consistently during the whole play? Or are there any changes? What do the characters say? How do they act? How do they behave in front of the other characters? Then what about the minor characters? How are they related, and what is their contribution to the main character's actions? And what are the characters' motives? Right? So think of all that when you are writing your essay. Then if by chance you are going to write about the setting or the theme or the stage directions, there also you have these important points. You can say, read the stage directions. Do the directions give extra information that helps you to think deeper about the theme or the play? Because as you know, whatever is not said in the play, not in the dialogue, they are in the directions of how the character where he should stand, what should be his dress, right? What are his kind of non-verbal characteristics? How has he got to move his hands or his face or expressions? All that given under the directions. Do they have an impact on the main character? Right? So think of all those things. Then what about the setting? Does the setting reveal more about the characters and the dominant theme? Is the setting helpful for that? Finally, think of what the elements represent. What message or implications can you draw? What are they symbolic of? So all that is important when you're talking, even if you're talking about one emerging theme. So all that you have to mention those. And remember, the citations are very important. Then and also now here what is the critique you are going to do? You can select on one of the. Are you going to write about on the feminist issues? What is going to be your approach? Or is it going to be a reader response? So decide on that. and do your criticism accordingly. Select one. If you have to mention, all if it is going to be a feminist issue, so what are the important characteristics, right? So that is some of the main things that you have to think about. That she is high and mighty, and even when she dies, when she is in heaven, she will have so the class suppression, everything is shown here. So even in heaven, she thinks that her class of people will be waited upon by the servants. So that will be the theme, class suppression. So then what are you going to draw? And then that will be what is the theme. And if you're going to draw a woman, a high class woman, and then you show her high and mighty ways, and then you show how it is reflected in the presentation. Support your discussion with relevant literature. So that means you have to take the quotations from the poem and show what are the lines that bring out this theme. Are there any symbolism, right? So here she thinks her class lies late as snows, while poor black cherubs rise as seven to do celestial shows. So you have to take one or two sentences, the quotations from the poem, write it down and say this is why you think the theme is highlighted with these quotations. Okay. So the exam paper, let's see, part A. So just 5 questions at all. So first of all, you take part A, 5 questions, and you answer all. Suggest 2 benefits of studying or performing drama. What is the answer for that? Right. So here we say one of the benefits is that it releases the imagination and the participants' energy, which in the classroom would help to make learning more realistic. So then you can say another benefit would be it provides a therapeutic effort. You can write either of the two. There are 2. Then what do you understand by term morality plays? What is a morality play? Right, it says morality plays in the 15th century, which are there is a story behind, or there is a allegorical presentation of human virtues and vices in conflict. So a conflict of human virtues and vices in conflict are shown through a morality play. And generally it's there is a hero, and then he's being assaulted, or his weaknesses are assaulted by evil forces, and then he wants to get redemption from the good forces. So that is it is talking about, it's an allegorical representation of human virtues and vices in conflict. And the next question is, how is a subplot different from a parallel plot? So what is a subplot according to the structure of analyzing a plot by Aristotle? Subplot refers to the events that happen to the secondary characters but related to the main characters. And a parallel plot refers to a set of actions that run parallel to the main plot without these two plots interacting in any significant way. The parallel plot, however, may reinforce or contrast with the effects of the main plot. And the next one is briefly explain the central issues of feminist literary theory on page 63. Right. So the basic premise of feminist theory is to centralize the category woman, which has been silenced by the male-controlled culture. So that should be the answer. The central issue or the basic premise is to kind of bring out the feminist theory in which the woman has been silenced by the male-controlled culture. So fighting against the male-controlled culture. Then the fifth one, in a reader response criticism, the focus is on the reader. So elaborate that. What does that mean? Yeah. So it says the process in which the reader gets meaning from the text instead of focusing solely on the author or the text. So the implication is that there is no correct answer. It's not what the author says, but it's what the reader feels. So it's the opinion of the reader that comes out here. He can say whatever he feels as long as it is related, there is a connection to the story. The focus is on the reader, and the process in which the reader gets meaning from the text instead of focusing solely on the author or the text. So the implication is that there is no correct meaning. Meaning is not inherent in the text. It materializes when there is an interaction between the text and the reader. Then part B contains 3 questions, answer only 2. The first one, in the poem below, the poet uses a number of techniques to get his message across. Right? So what? Identify the similes, rhetorical questions, and repetitions used by the poem. So here, a simile is, it says, if we must let it not be like hogs. So that is a simile there. And then a rhetorical question is asking a question when he does not expect an answer. What does he say? What though below us lies the open grave? And repetitions. Several places he says, if we must die, let it not be like the horse. If we must die, let us nobly die. So there is a repetition there. Then analyze the theme of the poem, paying particular attention to how the techniques mentioned above are used to develop the theme. Right. So decide on what the theme is. So here, if we must die, what Claude McKay says is, the author, here the poet says, why must I die? If I am dying, I should die a hero's death. He wants to die a hero's death. So there, the repetition, the way he repeats it, he wants to show how adamant he is in, how eager he is, or he's so upset, but then still when you repeat something, you want to exaggerate and say how important it is for him. So he says, if we must die, let it be not like, if we must die, oh, let us nobly die. He says he does not want to die, but now if he has to die, he wants to die a hero's death. So it's he wants a noble death. And he does, when you say, let us not be like hogs, hunted and penned in an inglorious spot. So he does not want to die a coward, like a coward. He wants to face the enemy. He does not want to hide, and he does not want to be in a corner to die. He wants to move forward and die like a hero. And also he says, so that our precious blood may not be shed in vain, that even as monsters we defy shall be constrained to honor us though dead. Even if we are dead, we will be honored. So he does, the main thing is he wants to die a hero's death. So mention all the sentences or all the words which says in hunted and penned in an inglorious spot. He does not want to die. While round us bark the mad and hungry dogs. So he is referring to his enemy as animals. So they are like hogs, like dogs. And also he says, like men will face the murderous, cowardly pack. So again, he is referring to the enemies as animals, like dogs. And even he says, let men will face the murderous, cowardly pack, pressed to the walls, dying, but fighting back. So he wants to die a hero's death. So that is the theme, the repetition everywhere where he is repeating the idea, although it's not the same words, but the idea is repeated. That he wants to die, even if they are being surrounded by hungry dogs like hogs or like a pack of wolves or whatever, still he wants to die a hero's death. Always he's talking about fighting back, pressed to the wall, dying, but fighting back. And he says, though far outnumbers, let us show us brave. And he says, shall be constrained to honor, or the enemy will be constrained to honor us though dead. Although we are dead, we will be honored. So that idea of his wanting to be honored, even in death, he wants to be honored. And he wants to die a brave, not a cowardly death, but a brave death. So that theme through all these exclamations and all the words that he uses, you can see that the repetition of the idea is that he wants to die as a hero. Then the second one, A and B, is identify 4 types of characters common in plays. Describe these characters and show how they are revealed in play. So we have, turn to page 37. We talk of characterization. Right, so we have different types of characters in drama. We can call them, there are round characters, there are flat characters, then we have stock or file characters, then the antagonist and the protagonist. And so you can say mainly the main characters are round characters, and the antagonist, the protagonist is there. So who is the hero? Generally, who will be the hero? And then who are the foil characters? Foil characters will be the minor characters. The stock characters are generally we have these stereotyped characters, which are called the stock characters. So you can mention all those. Then we have the next question is compare a Shakespearean, Spencerian and a Petrarchian sonnet. Turn to page 105. So what is the difference between a Shakespearean sonnet and a Spencerian sonnet? A Shakespearean sonnet has 3 quatrains and each quadrant is made up of 4 lines, and it has 3 quatrains and a couplet. And each quatrain carries a single idea, but all 3 quatrains resolve around a single subject matter. And the couplet usually summarizes or provides a moral to the quatrain's injunction. And a Spencerian sonnet has interlocking rhythm or the rhyme scheme, and it's a 14-line sonnet. And a Petrarchian or Italian sonnet is composed of an octave, that is the first 8 lines rhyming, and then there is a sextus. The sextus is the next 6 lines of rhyming. So those are the differences between the Shakespearean, Spencerian and a Petrarchian sonnet. And you can also mention the rhyming scheme. For example, the Shakespearean sonnet has an A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G, whereas the Spencerian sonnet's rhyming scheme is A, B, A, B, B, C, B, C, C, D, C, D, E, E. And then you get the Petrarchian. There you get the first 8 lines rhyming with A, B, 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 A, B, B, A, B, B, A. And then you get E, C, D, E, or sometimes you get C, D, C, D, C, D. So the variant patterns are there. So those are the 3 different ways that the sonnets are being written. Then you have the next one. Describe the main features of a miracle play, realist drama, and a feminist drama. So what is a miracle play? So page 11. So if you think of a miracle play, much of the stories are coming from the Christian background. It says stories of saints or from the Bible were dramatized. So this was because most of the people were illiterate, and one way for them to remember the religion was through visual representation. These plays are called miracle plays or mystery plays. So the main feature is that they are stories of saints or from the Bible which are dramatized. And they were originally performed in Latin, but much later in the vernacular languages. And what is a realist play? So with the difference, you have a symbolist drama, and as against the symbolist, you have the realist. So in the realist drama, what happens is you depict true to life situations by using real life dialogue, and the movements are more natural and the sceneries are more realistic. And most of the characters in the realist dramas are from the middle and the working class. So those are the main features. And then when you talk of a feminist, there is a feminist drama. If you, So there was sudden change on the way that women were perceived. So in the modern world, it is in the modern world that we have this modern drama, when we have these changes that were brought about because of the feminist movement. And that feminist movement also influenced the dramatic arts. So because of that, only the feminist drama was born. So this drama presents issues that were highlighted by the feminist movement, such as the oppression of women in a male-dominated world. So that is one of the main highlights there. And the call for the empowerment of women and the centralization of women's identity, and not for them to be in the periphery, but in the center. An example of feminist drama is Top Girls. So drama is about sacrifice of women who wish to climb the ladder of success in the career world dominated by men. Then the next one is explain the importance of costume and scenery in staging a play. So turn to page 85. Right. So we talk of costumes. So one important aspect of producing a drama is the designing of the costumes. So costume, what is the question is, explain the importance of costume and scenery in staging a play. So costumes are not merely a decorative item in the performance for the performers. They are essential in presenting implicit messages. So that's the importance of costumes. That is because the costumes depict or establish the period, the social class, the economic status, occupation, age, geography, weather, and the time of day. So all that can be depicted by the costumes. So that is the importance of costumes in producing of a play. Then the scenery. What is important? Why is scenery important in a play? Because the scenery is what transforms or shapes and fills the stage space, transforming it into a world or an environment for the characters. So the scene sets the pace for the characters to get into the mood of the play. The responsibility is to make the characters' world visible and interesting for the audience. So the scene makes it interesting for the audience, as well as the scene makes the characters get into the mood of the drama. So both those are those important reasons for the scenery. It has to shape and fill the stage space, transforming it into a world or an environment for the characters. Then the location of the play is important. So the change of the dimension, the reshape it for a particular stage. Then he has the importance of the stage design or the scene design is he has to think of where does the play take place, which period is it a historical period, and then what kind of movements do the characters make. So all that depends on the scenery. So that's why the importance of the scenery in staging a play. So the next question is, write a critique of the play you have studied using Freytag's pyramid as a guide. So elaborate your answer using examples from a play you have studied on this course. So in this course, they have studied importance of being earnest, and the critical analysis of it can be done as earlier using one of the views. You can use the feminist response or the reader response. So if you turn to the Freytag's analysis, we'll see how you can do it. So then you have the 5 elements if you're using the Freytag's pyramid. There you have to talk of the exposition, that is when the characters are introduced, and then you have the complicating action is there, and then the climax, the falling action, and the resolution of the denouement when the complex situations are resolved. So in this, for all these actions, you can take the characters. Take the characters of the Algernon, then you can take Lady Bracknell, Gwendoline, and then finally, what is the climax? When you then you see in the characterization, if you take them, finally they have to, Jack and Algernon both have to admit that they were deceitful, and that's the place where the climax happens. And then the reactions of Cecily and Gwendoline, and you can then take all these, the story start from the first scene, second scene, and then align it to all the exposition. First of all, what is the exposition, and who are the people who are involved in setting up the scene, who is there. You talk of Algernon, and then Gwendoline and Lady Bracknell are there. And later on, how is the action being complicated. There are also who are the characters who are involved. And then finally the climax, who is there, what happens, what is the situation that takes place, who are the people, the characters who are involved, and what is the discussion that takes place. And finally at the denouement, what happens, how does Jack and also Algernon behave, and how is the complications resolved by all of them agreeing to marry. In that same way, you can match the characters, the plot, the theme, everything to the Freytag's pyramid of exposition, complication, action, climax, resolution. And for that, you have to study the plot very carefully, and then the theme. Then, next one is read the poem and answer the questions below. So there you have So how does the poet present the theme of war in this poem? Support your answer with clear examples from the poem. So what are the instance? You just read it. So when you say bent double, like old beggars under sacks, knock-kneed, coughing like hags, we curse through the slide. So you can see whether these are victorious soldiers or what is happening, whether it is a war that has been won or it is a war that they are being the losers. So what happened? Underline all the words and the phrases which show you the theme here. Knock-kneed, coughing like hags, we cursed through the sludge. Till on haunting flares, we turned our backs and towards our distant rest began to trudge. Men marched asleep. So you can see what do you mean by that? That so they are so tired and that they are like zombies. So why are they like zombies? You can say they have been dead or they've been dumb or been like kind of subdued because of the war, and they are being so what can you say? They have been horrified, and they have lost their boots, but limb torn and all bloodshot. So they are in a losing way. All went lame, all blind. So look at the destruction there. Drunk with fatigue, deaf even to the hoots of tired, outstripped 5 nines that dropped behind. So 5 nines, what are they talking about? It could be the bullets or the shrieking of the sirens or whatever, but still, even with that danger looming near, they are still dead to all that because they are so numbed with the effects of the war. Out-tired, outstripped. Gas, quick boys, and ecstasy of fumbling, fitting the clumsy helmets just in time. But someone still was yelling out there, stumbling and floundering like a man of fire or lime. Dim through the misty panes and thick green light, and under the green sea I saw him drowning. In all my dreams, before my helpless sight, he plunges at me, guttering, choking, and drowning. If in some smothering dream you too could pace behind the wagon that we flung him in, and watch the white eyes writhing his face, his hanging face like the devil sick of sea. So if you could hear at every jolt the blood come gargling from the fourth corrupted lungs, obscene as cancer, bitter as scud of vile incurable sores and innocent tongues. My friend would not tell with such high zest to children ardent for some desperate glory, to the old lie dulciet decorum et pro patria mori. So that means he says, even now you're dying like this. What is the purpose of dying? And then for your younger generations, you say, why do you want to die? What is the purpose of war? So for desperate glory, if you're thinking of war, please do not think of it again, and just think of the suffering that we are undergoing. So the theme of war is depicted in every line, with all the words, all the sentences, all the stanzas depict. You can take each line and say, bent double like old beggars under sacks. So how much weight, and like if you say soldiers are so smart and so they should be brisk, but here they are weighed under the war, the troubles, or all the problems that they have undergone. Knock-kneed, coughing like hags, we curse through the sludge. So sludge is it could be the blood and the mud and everything that is so desperate. Till on haunting flares. So still the war is going on because they can see the flares at the back. And towards our distant rest we began to judge. Men marched asleep. So they are not, even if they are marching, if they are awake, they are like zombies. And you say, drunk with fatigue, deaf even to the hoots of tired, outstripped 5-9 that dropped behind. I say, and floundering like a man in fire or lime, dim though the misty panes and thick green light, and under a green sea I saw him drowning. In all my dreams, before my helpless sight, he plunges at me. And then you can see how they take on a man who is half dead, and then he says, guttering, choking, drowning. And even he says, you can see the white eyes writhing in his face. So the white eyes means you can see, if a person, you can mention that how much fearful when you can only see the whites of your eyes. And breathing in it, and you say breathing in his face, and is like a devil's sick of pain. And you could hear at every jaw the blood coming gurgling from the froth corrupted lungs. So that means you're choked, your lungs are also choked with blood, and you can see like the last breath of a man dying, where the froth and the blood is coming gurgling out of the mouth. So it all shows the horrors of the war. And also the vile, incurable sores on innocent tongues. And my friend, you would not tell with such high zest to children of ardent for some desperate glory. So you say you are desperate. That means when you go for war, you want to win and you want to encourage others also to fight. So these people who have been really suffering in the war, and they say, what is the, finally it says, what is the use, what is the glory that we are getting of the war? Please do not try to encourage war. The old lie dulciet decorum is pro patria mori. So it is an old lie. You die in glory. So there is no glory in war. So it is only, finally you get only a desperate, there is no desperate glory. It's all desperate death. Right. So then you can take, there are so many examples in this one to say for the desperation and the horrors of war. So it's an old lie to say dulci decorum, there is no glory in death. That is a lie. Right. Okay. Right. So finally, you just read the questions carefully, and then see when you're writing your long answers, just try to get the theme correct first of all. And if you're writing about the theme, and connect the other important, for the theme to be successful, then you have the plot. The plot and the characters are as well, they are also important. So connect everything, and then try to be very precise, and also mind the when you're writing your introduction, body and the conclusion have to be connected, and the introduction has to, finally even your conclusion has to be connected to the introduction. So that interaction, and even in each paragraph you are writing, always try to connect your ideas together. So that is what is very important in writing a long answer.